In today's episode, we'll create EnemyAI using Finite State Machine. And the easiest and I think the most common way to do it in Unity is to use Unity animator. So let's do it now. Let's add component animator, of course, to our zombie. It will be our enemy. And let's move to animation. Let's create animation. Let's create new folder. And inside that one, let's create the zombie to keep everything organized. Okay, so let's make idle. And let's move to our animator here. As you can see here, now we have our states. This will be states for our state machine. Here we have the transition. That arrow means when we enter our animation, so if our object will be created, we are on entry. Then it moved to the default state. As you can see here, it's already default state. So first what will happen, we'll move to idle state. And this state, how our zombie will work. We want our zombie to wait until player will be in the range. Then it will chase our player, and if when the zombie will be close enough to our player, it will just attack our player. Okay, so what we need to do is to create new empty state. We call it follow. Okay, we'll call it follow, and we also want to attack our player. So let's create another empty state and let's call it attack. Sorry, not to make transition yet. Attack. Okay. Here. So from idle state, as I said, we want to start chasing player when he will be in our range. So let's make transition to follow. And from the follow, if player will run from us, we want to move to the idle state. So let's move from the follow to idle. Okay. And also when we are chasing our player, we want to attack our player. And after we stop attacking, we want to chase player again. Okay, so that's how our transition will work. It's pretty simple, as you can see here. But for that, we need two conditions. Here we have conditions float, int, bool, and trigger. For attack, I recommend using trigger. And for the state you want to keep, like in a loop or something like that, like following, I recommend using bool. So let's do bool transition following. Follow, and let's make trigger attack. Okay, so now if we attach to our transition our condition here, which is following true, when our player will be in range, we want to change to the follow, and when our player will be out of range, we want to transition. So following will be false, we want to transition back to idle. So our zombie will wait for our player to get in range. Okay, so now let's work on that script before we will move to attack. So that will not make any confusions. For the idle, we need to create behavior. It will be our script. So let's write idle. New script idle. Create and add. Okay, it's taking a while. Where's my script? Yeah, it's created. Okay, here something new. It's state machine behavior, as you can see here. We'll need those three functions during our work. This can be commented out. This one can't. Okay, so what will happen here? Here we have function on start enter. So that is called once when we enter our state. And so when we move from the transition to follow, this is called just once. Okay, and if we want function to be updated, so we will chase our player. So this wait on state update, this is where we will chase our player. So here we want to find the position of our player, or find what target we want to chase, and here we want to make script to chase our player. Sorry, we're working on idle. So first here we'll find our player, and here we'll be checking distance to our player if we should switch to follow script. Okay, so let's do it now. So what we need is transform to our target, and target will be our player. To find our target, we just need to make script game object, and game object dot get find objects with tag, not objects, but object with tag, and let's call it player dot, because we put transform parameter here, let's put transform. Okay, so here when we just move to the idle state, we'll find our target, and here is our target. So we catch our target. Now what we want to do is to check if vector2 dot distance, so this will be distance to our player, and here we will check if our distance to our player is smaller than, so let's make it for now smaller than 5. We will start to chase our player. To do that, what we need to do is to change our bool value we've just created here. Our bool value is following. So following, you make a mistake with the letter here, so let's fix it. Bool following. Okay. So now we have to fix the transition. Following true, following false. Okay. So here, this parameter is the component to where animator is attached to. So we have attached our animator to our zombie. So now, if we call animator, it will be the same if we call game object get component, and here we'll choose what component we want to get, but here we just set bool and here we put the bool name, so it's following, and change it to true. Okay, but here we haven't yet provided the values for what distance we want to check. So we want to check distance from our animator to our target, which is our player. So let's make animator dot transform dot position, and the second argument will be our target dot position. So now this function will check if our distance of our zombie is less than 5 or equal to 5 than our player. If it's true, then animator will change following value to true, and with that the transition will change our state to follow. So now we have to create behavior for our follow state. Okay, so let's add behavior for the follow state. Now let's again uncomment everything. And here again we need to check. Here, when we chase our player, when our player is close enough, we want to make attack. So we also will add value, we'll set trigger here inside that script. Okay. So first let's make again transform. Let's write again transform target because we want again to find our target, and let's define speed for our zombie. I want it to be slow, so let's make it 1 for now. Okay, so because we already have that line here, we can just copy it. And let's start working. First, we need to create movement on our on state update. So our zombie will be able to chase our player. So now, animator dot transform position will be equal to vector2 move towards, and here we will provide arguments. So this is our current rigid body we want to move, or sorry, not rigid body, the transform, the current transform we want to move. So animator so we are moving our zombie to the position of our target by value of our speed multiplied by time the delta time. So now if we go and test it, so for the save, you will see what's happened. Okay, something went wrong. Okay, transfer position target. We haven't yet. Our player is intact. So let's tag our player. Let's press Ctrl S. Let's test again. So now our zombie chases our player. If we move too far away, our zombie should stop, but it's not stopping. And yeah, we do not reset our. It worked correctly. You can see here it's transition to attack, but it should transition to idle. And sorry, just had a call, so I had to turn off recording, but now I'm back. And let's change here. We are following our player, but our animator is automatically transition to attack. We don't want to do that. So now let's fix it inside the code. So to fix it, we will need to write function, so float distance is equal, and we have already did it inside here, so just copy paste it. Okay, and let's use distance. So if our distance will be larger than 5, we want to set our follow animator dot set bool following to be false. To be false. Okay. So now it should work correctly. But one thing, sorry, not this one. One thing which we need to check. Yeah. So it plays animation. Wait a second. Place animation. Yeah, exit times are wrong here. So now we need to fix our exit times. Here, let's change has exit time to false, and let's make transition delay to 0.1. So that way we'll not have that strange behavior. Okay, let's test again. And still is doing strange. It's transition to attack. Okay, we have a little bug here. So let's delete it for now, just for testing. Okay, so it works correctly. So now we know that there is something wrong with the transition for attack. Let's turn off health bar for now, just making a little bit of confusions for now. Now we want to do, yeah, our zombie is not rotated correctly to our player. So to fix that, let's change our sprite rotation. First, it needs to be the same way as our transfer map is currently. And then what we want to do is to update our rotation inside the script. So let's do it now. So let's write vector2 look direction will be equal to our target transform position minus is the same as we did when we are rotating our player to our mouse position. So now what we need to do is just animator transform up up will be equal to new vector, sorry, not vector2, not vector3 but vector2 look there dot x and look direction dot y. Now our zombie will be rotated correctly. We want one statement here, one more if statement. If our distance will be less than 1.5, let's make an attack. So let's set a trigger. Set trigger attack. And this works a little bit different than our ball, so we need to reset it on end of our animation. So when we transition to attack, in the same time we reset our attack trigger, so it can move back to the following again. So when we transition from follow, in the same time we reset our attack trigger, so after our attack animation will be finished, it will get back to our follow. Okay, so now we need to, as I said, animator set trigger reset So reset trigger. And we want to reset our attack trigger. Okay, let's save it. And now if we create our, we can create our transition, okay, to the attack, and from the attack to our follow. Here again, let's remove exit time and let's change to 0.1. But for the attack, the exit time means how much of the animation we want to play. So I want to play at least 0.90% of our animation, and let's make exit time 0.1. Okay, so that way we'll play our attack. Now we need to create animation for our attack. Let's make prefab of our zombie. Prefabs, yeah, we have a folder for the prefabs. And zombie prefab be here, and let's double click, go to scene, and our zombie will attack. Our zombie will attack. We'll make some like classic games attack, and zombie will just quickly move forward to attack. I want to move also a collider with the zombie, so let's add collider to the for that zombie. Okay, it looks correctly, automatically added, but it's added correctly. And let's make a script where our zombie will do damage to our player. So let's make zombie script. And new script zombie. Okay, let's code it. So here the script for the zombie will be very similar to our bullet. So let's copy it from our bullet. One difference, we don't want to destroy zombie when we detect the collision. We call the health system, the same as for the bullet, and we just need to define again public float damage. Let's make it by default 2. Okay, so now when we have our zombie script, let's create our animation. To create our animation, we just need to move here to press that one, create new clip, animations, let's save it into animation zombie, and let's write attack. Okay, how our attack will look. I just want to move our zombie, to create an animation. First you need to press record. And our attack will be very easy. We just move zombie forward in y direction by 1.5. And as you can see here, now if I press play on the animation, it just quickly punch our player. And because we have our damage script here created for our zombie, it will call function take damage on the health system of our player. So now let's move to our animator. Let's check the transitions. Yeah, we didn't set the transition for the attack. So now it's attack transition. For this one, let's have it empty. So it will transition back on the animation finished. Okay, I think now we can test everything, if everything is working. So our zombie rotated correctly to us. It's chasing us, facing in our direction. We are more than 5 meters from our zombie, so it stopped chasing us. Let's move closer and let's wait for the attack. Yeah, and he punches again, and he punches again. He punches us again and again, and he kills us. Okay, so that's all for today's tutorial. We've created basic AI for a zombie with Finite State Machine. and it's very good to do it that way, because now we can easily add animations for our follow and attack, and it will be very easy to modify that and add another behaviors. We just need to create transitions. So thank you very much for watching this episode, and if you like it, press thumb up and subscribe. Thank you very much. Bye.